Since 2000, there have been 47 explosive volcanic eruptions worldwide, with only 3 occurring in the United States. These eruptions all took place in Alaska, far from major population centers. However, the U.S. is home to 169 active volcanoes, including 3 near the Seattle and Portland metropolitan areas that are considered particularly hazardous. This raises an important question. When might the next major eruption happen, and why is Mount Rainier of special concern? Volcanoes are some of nature's most powerful and destructive forces, capable of unleashing immense energy that disrupts ecosystems and endangers human communities. While the United States lies within the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region known for intense tectonic activity, it has largely avoided catastrophic volcanic events in recent history. Yet, this period of relative calm is unlikely to last forever. For residents near the Rocky Mountains, volcanic risks are minimal, but other regions face far more significant threats. Recent volcanic activity in the United States has been predominantly concentrated in Alaska and Hawaii. Alaska boasts the highest number of active volcanoes in the country, with over 1,030 primarily situated along the Aleutian Arc. This volcanic chain extends from the Alaska Peninsula through the Aleutian Islands, where the Pacific Plate subducts beneath the North American Plate. Notable volcanoes in this region include Mount Redoubt, Mount Spur, and Augustine Volcano, all of which have experienced eruptions in recent decades. While these eruptions occurred near populated areas such as Anchorage and towns on the Kenai Peninsula, their main effects were limited to ash fallout and cleanup operations. Hawaii's volcanic activity, in contrast, is shaped by its location above a hotspot in the central Pacific Ocean. Its volcanoes are among the most active in the world. The state is home to 5 active volcanoes: Kilauea, Mauna Loa, Mauna Kea, Hualai, and Haleakala. Kilauea, located on the Big Island, stands out for its nearly continuous eruptions since 1983, making it one of the most closely monitored volcanoes globally. The Cascade Range is the most prominent volcanic region in the contiguous United States, stretching from northern California through Oregon and Washington. It lies within the Cascadia subduction zone, where the Juan de Fuca Plate is subducting beneath the North American Plate. This mountain range hosts some of the country's most famous volcanoes. Mount St. Helens, located in Washington, is notorious for its devastating eruption in 1980. Mount Rainier, near Tacoma and Seattle, is considered particularly hazardous due to its thick ice cap, which could melt during an eruption, triggering massive lahars. Mount Hood, located near Portland, Oregon, also poses a risk to surrounding communities in the event of an eruption. California is home to several notable volcanic sites as well. Mount Shasta, an imposing stratovolcano, dominates the landscape of Northern California. Lassen Peak, situated in Lassen Volcanic National Park, last erupted in 1915. The Long Valley Caldera, which erupted over 760,000 years ago, remains geothermally active and is closely monitored by scientists. Recent volcanic activity in the U.S. has mostly been limited to Alaska and Hawaii, but the dormant volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest and California continue to pose significant risks. Despite remaining inactive for decades, these volcanoes could erupt catastrophically without warning. Collectively, they have shaped the geography of the United States and continue to present challenges for nearby communities. The U.S. has a rich history of volcanic eruptions, with numerous major and destructive events that have left lasting marks on the landscape. Recent volcanic eruptions, such as those of Mount St. Helens, CAA, and Mount Lassen, are among the most catastrophic in terms of their impact on human life, property, and the environment. Mount St. Helens, located about 50 miles north of Portland in Washington state, is notorious for its explosive eruption on May 18, 1980. Often considered the most destructive volcanic eruption in U.S. history, this event followed 2 months of earthquakes and steam venting activity. A powerful debris avalanche, triggered by a 5.1 magnitude earthquake, caused the volcano's north face to collapse, resulting in a massive lateral blast. The eruption released a towering ash plume that reached nearly 80,000 feet, spreading ash across 11 states. The surrounding area was devastated, with the lateral blast leveling forests and the debris avalanche covering 23 square miles. Tragically, 57 lives were lost, and the eruption caused over $1 billion in damage, destroying homes, infrastructure, and natural resources. The mountain's once iconic symmetrical cone, often referred to as America's Mount Fuji, was permanently altered, forever changing the skyline visible from Portland. Located on Hawaii's Big Island, Kilauea, also known as CAA, is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth, with near-continuous eruptions from its East Rift Zone since 1983. One of its most significant events was the 2018 eruption, which drastically altered the island's landscape. The eruption began in May after the collapse of the Pu'u'o crater. Lava flows from fissures in the Leilani Estates area destroyed over 700 homes, displaced thousands of people, and covered more than 13 square miles of land. The lava eventually reached the ocean, creating new land while also releasing dangerous gases and causing acid rain. This eruption, one of the most destructive in CAA's modern history, highlighted the ongoing volatility of Hawaii's volcanic activity. Since then, Kilauea has erupted nearly every year, except in 2022, continuing to demonstrate its persistent power. Mount Lassen in Northern California underwent a series of eruptions between 1914 and 1921, with the most notable one occurring on May 22, 1915. This eruption produced a pyroclastic flow that devastated the northeastern slope, destroying forests and leaving a massive debris field. The eruption column rose 30,000 feet into the air, sending volcanic ash as far as 200 miles away. While no lives were lost, the eruption had a lasting impact on the region, eventually leading to the establishment of Lassen Volcanic National Park to preserve and study the area. In June 1912, the Novarupta eruption in Alaska, part of the Katmai volcanic cluster, marked an extraordinary event. It remains the largest eruption of the 20th century, releasing over 3 cubic miles of magma and forming the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, a landscape filled with ash flows. While the eruption's remote location prevented human casualties, it had a significant impact on the region's ecology and geology, leaving a legacy that continues to be studied by scientists today. Though the United States is a volcanically active nation, it has largely avoided catastrophic volcanic disasters in recent decades. However, the risk remains, especially in the Cascade Range, which stretches from Northern California through Oregon and Washington. This area is home to some of the country's most dangerous volcanoes, including Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, and Mount Rainier. The proximity of these volcanoes to major urban centers, such as Portland, Seattle, and Tacoma, increases the potential danger. Mount St. Helens, located about 50 miles northeast of Portland, serves as a powerful reminder of the destruction volcanoes can cause. Its devastating eruption in 1980, which resulted in 57 fatalities and widespread damage, is a vivid example of the immense power and unpredictability of volcanic activity. Due to its active history, Mount St. Helens is closely monitored, as future eruptions are considered likely, though their exact timing and scale remain unknown. When it erupts again, the effects are expected to be visible from Portland, highlighting the importance of ongoing surveillance. Another active volcano, Mount Hood, Oregon's tallest peak, lies just 50 miles from Portland. Although dormant since the 1790s, Mount Hood poses a significant threat, particularly from lahars, volcanic mudflows that could severely impact surrounding areas, including parts of the Portland metropolitan area. Even without an eruption, lahars could form if volcanic heat melts the mountain's extensive snow and ice cover. Mount Rainier, located about 60 miles southeast of Seattle-Tacoma, represents one of the most significant volcanic threats in the United States. Standing at 14,411 feet, it is the tallest peak in the Cascade Range and is extensively glaciated. An eruption or major seismic activity at Mount Rainier could trigger massive lahars, potentially reaching the densely populated regions of Seattle and Tacoma. Historical lahars from the volcano have extended to Puget Sound, and current research indicates that similar events could inflict severe damage on infrastructure and communities. Although the likelihood of a lahar directly affecting Seattle is low, the potential impact remains a major concern. The dangers posed by these volcanoes go beyond the immediate effects of eruptions, such as pyroclastic flows and ashfall. Secondary impacts, like lahars and flooding, can lead to widespread devastation. Lahars can bury valleys and structures under thick layers of mud, disrupt transportation systems, and contaminate water sources. Moreover, ash clouds present serious risks to aviation, potentially damaging engines and reducing visibility, which creates significant challenges for the millions of people living in surrounding urban areas. Fortunately, organizations like the United States Geological Survey, USGS, are dedicated to monitoring volcanoes, providing early warnings, and minimizing potential risks. The USGS National Volcanic Early Warning System aims to enhance monitoring and hazard assessments for high-risk volcanoes, especially those near large population centers. This system is essential for ensuring that communities have sufficient time to prepare for eruptions. The Seattle metropolitan area, including Tacoma, is currently at the highest risk for a volcanic eruption due to its proximity to Mount Rainier. With over 4 million people potentially affected, the stakes are significant. Mount Hood in Portland also poses a considerable threat, with about 2.5 million people at risk. While neither city is close enough to face catastrophic destruction like ancient Pompeii, the impact of an eruption would still be severe, especially for smaller towns closer to these volcanoes. This discussion, focused on volcanoes along the Pacific coast, raises an interesting question. Why aren't there more active volcanoes throughout the rest of the United States? The Rocky Mountains, the largest mountain range in the United States, are notable for their lack of active volcanoes, with the exception of the Yellowstone area. This absence of volcanic activity is a result of the Rockies' distinct geological history and tectonic features, which are quite different from those of other volcanic regions in the country. The Rockies, which stretch from Canada to New Mexico, were primarily formed during the Laramide orogeny, a tectonic event that occurred around 80 to 55 million years ago. During this time, the Pacific Plate collided with and was forced beneath the North American Plate, leading to the uplift of the Rockies. As a result, the range is mostly composed of sedimentary, metamorphic, and ancient igneous rocks, in contrast to the younger, more volcanically active rocks found in the Cascade Range. Furthermore, the Rockies are located in the interior of the North American Plate, far from the Pacific Ring of Fire, where most of the world's volcanoes are found. This positioning means that the tectonic forces necessary for active volcanism are largely absent. The Yellowstone region, located on the eastern edge of the Rockies, is a significant exception due to its location above a volcanic hotspot. The Yellowstone caldera, a supervolcano, has experienced several large eruptions in the past 2 million years, with the most recent one occurring around 640,000 years ago.